Hi there, I'm Mark from Akila, and today I'd like to dive into a groundbreaking development for the real estate sector in New York City called Local Law 97, or LL97. I will quickly cover what it is and what it could mean for your business. So, what is it? In 2019, New York City passed the Climate Mobilization Act, and within it, LL97. Simply put, starting in 2024, this law will mandate all large buildings over 25,000 square feet to both reduce their carbon emissions overall and to disclose their emission on an annual basis. Why is this such a big deal? Well, New York is a fantastic test case for a dense city. Its buildings are responsible for more carbon emissions than its entire transport sector. And as we all know, New York has a lot of transport. Buildings account for around 70% of greenhouse gas emissions in New York City. Therefore, the aim of LL97 is to achieve an overall building-related emissions reduction of 40% by 2030, with the key target of an 80% reduction by 2050. This, if anything, is a very bold commitment to a more sustainable future city, and already other cities across the US are following suit. And this will be a template for cities globally. Sounds great, right? But here's where it gets interesting. You see, starting in 2025, things get serious. Building owners who fail to comply with emissions mandates will receive pretty substantial penalties. Initially looking at $268 per metric ton on excess emissions, as well as monthly fines for non-reporting. Oh, and additional penalties for any false statements made. So, as a building owner, this may sound a bit drastic for you, right? Well, frankly, we need urgency. The climate clock is ticking, and we can see the changes we need to make. This is the policy that's driving change. Look, if we do nothing, then an estimated 80% of building stock could exceed emissions limits by 2030. That's just 6 years away, and buildings take time to change. So you need to get ahead of the curve, and the first step is understanding your building's emissions. The ticking clock is a catalyst for positive change. Yes, reducing your emissions means retrofitting, and we all know that can be a substantial investment. Estimates put around $60 per square foot. However, this is an opportunity for pragmatic business sense, future-proofing your property in good time to reduce risk and costs while increasing asset value, all the while meeting your compliance obligations. LL97 is the first major citywide move this magnitude. As mentioned, similar regulations are popping up elsewhere in the US. Keep an eye on Boston, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco. Actually, California already has new mechanisms in place, the SB 253 and SB 261 legislation that requires both public and private companies to report on their emissions-related climate risks in biannual reports. However, what is really giving this movement teeth is the fact that the SEC wants to require publicly listed commercial real estate firms to report their emissions and make full disclosures. That's a very confident signal to the market. Yes, this is a lot to take in, but in terms of taking action, again, it all starts with understanding your building's emissions. How? Well, that's where Akila comes in. We automate the entire process of collecting and reporting emissions data, all by digitally twinning your particular building to map all of its emissions, sources, technologies, any upgrades, and all the details. It builds a clear picture of what's going on and lets you report with confidence. LL97 is going to reshape the game for sustainable real estate. It's about embracing the chance to get ahead and future-proofing your assets. It's just good business sense. And there are solutions. Yes, software like Akila, but also financial tools too. Tools that will enable good faith efforts to be transparently represented while enabling you to make data-driven decisions with confidence towards your buildings that are greener, more cost-effective, while of course staying ahead of current and future regulations.